Donkey Kong was released on July 9, 1981, and was Nintendo's first true international success. Donkey Kong was immensely popular as by late June 1982, Nintendo had sold 60,000 Donkey Kong machines overall and had made $180 million. Although Donkey Kong was not the first platforming game released, it was the first to actually involve jumping. It also features one of the first stories in video game history that was told with in-game cutscenes. Donkey Kong was so popular that it even had a Saturday morning cartoon that ran on CBS for 2 seasons. The cartoon followed Mario and Pauline's misadventures as they attempted to catch Donkey Kong in a variety of settings. It also generated countless ports on a variety of systems, such as the Atari 2600, ColecoVision, and Intellivision. It also spawned a series of clones such as Crazy Kong made by Falcone in 1981 for non-North American markets. Tiger Electronics also released a clone that actually starred King Kong in it as they were able to get the rights from Universal Studios. Donkey Kong's name is shrouded in multiple myths and one truth. The first myth is that of mistranslation. The person who did the translation in the States mistranslated monkey into donkey. The second myth is the case of a bad phone line. Apparently during a phone conversation with Minamoto, the phone had a random case of static and the word monkey was misheard as donkey. The third and final theory is that Minamoto used a Japanese to English dictionary and the word donkey was equated to the Japanese word for goofy. The truth, however, is that Minamoto chose the word donkey as it conveyed a sense of stubbornness, and the word Kong was used as it was a widely used slang term in Japan which meant gorilla. The name Jumpman was chosen due to its similarity to more popular game characters of the day, such as Pac-Man. However, the real question is, where did Mario come from? Apparently, Mario got his name from Mario Segal, a wealthy real estate developer in Washington State. Segal rented the warehouse that served as Nintendo of America's headquarters in the early 1980s. Liddy's new name, Pauline, came from Polly James, wife of Nintendo's warehouse manager, Don James. Donkey Kong was created on the failure of another Nintendo game, Radar Scope. Radar Scope was released in 1979 in Japan and was a shoot-'em-up. The game originally had a large amount of buzz stateside, but due to the delayed North American release of 1980, the buzz had more or less died, and the lack of unique gameplay made this arcade machine a failure. Therefore, in order to keep the company afloat, President Hiroshima Yamauchi opted to convert the remaining Radar Scope machines, 2,000 out of a total 3,000, to a different game. He asked Shigeru Minamoto to design this new game. Donkey Kong is influenced by 2 main sources, Beauty and the Beast and Popeye the Sailor Man. Nintendo was attempting to secure the license for a Popeye game, which Donkey Kong was supposed to be, but at the last moment they lost the rights. Therefore Pluto became Donkey Kong, Olive Oil became Pauline, and Popeye became Jumpman. Nintendo did finally release a game based on Popeye in 1982. Miyamoto wanted to create a game different and more involved than the games of the day. He pushed for the 4 different level designs versus 1 continuous one, which meant the programmers basically had to create 4 separate games. The idea of having Jumpman use seesaws, which catapulted him upwards, was scrapped as it was simply too complicated to program. Instead, sloping walkways, ladders, and elevators were used to move Jumpman upwards, and obstacles such as barrels, fireballs, and springs were used to add challenge to the game. The North American release of Donkey Kong was originally on a test basis in the Seattle area. The reason for this initial limited release is the heads of Nintendo of America thought the game would be a flop. So, in order to test its appeal, they opted to perform a trial run and convince 2 bars to each take a Donkey Kong cabinet. The machines were a huge success, making $30 or being played 120 times a day during the first week alone. The bar owners were so thrilled with these results that they requested more machines. In June of 1982, Universal sued Nintendo over the fact that Donkey Kong and King Kong could easily be confused for one another and that the general plot of the movie and the game were basically the same. Without going into too much legal jargon, Nintendo won the case as their lawyer John Kirby pointed out that Universal Studios stated in a previous court case that King Kong and its setting were part of the public domain. Nintendo received various legal fees, and Universal's take roughly $50,000 from the Tiger Electronics King Kong game.